What's up, bookish babes? Welcome back to the channel. It's the month, another reading wrap up. This month was a successful reading month for me, mainly because I not once got into a reading slump, and I was excited about every book I read this month because all of them surprisingly were good. And I was reading some of the most hyped up books of 2022, so that says a lot right there, because most of the books that I read that was hyped up last year were actually good books. Like, they were actually good books, and I was actually surprised because I wasn't expecting some of the books to be as good as they were. But we're gonna stop rambling on, and I'm gonna share with you guys some of the books I've read this month. So the first book I read was 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. I gave this book a 3.5 stars, mainly because I did not like the point that they gave everybody in the book's POV. Like, I did not care about anyone but Shane and Eva, and maybe even Eva's daughter. Everybody else in this book did not need a POV, and I thought it was super cute that they was writing about each other all these years without anyone else knowing that it was about each other. That was so cute to me. I ate this book up. I read this book in one sitting. Great book. If you haven't read 7 Days in June, you should really read it because I enjoyed it. The next book I read was The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. I read this book in one day as well because I was so intrigued. I wanted to know what was happening. I could not put this book down. It was about this this girl named Millie, who ended up getting hired to work for the Winchesters to be their maid and the babysitter. Come find out the daughter didn't even, the child that she was supposed to be babysitting didn't even like her. Like, she was just like a spoiled brat. And at first everyone thought that the mother, Nina, was a psychopath, but come to find out that wasn't the story. It was something very much deep and sinister going on, and I enjoyed it. This book right here, I want to say I gave it like a 4.75. I just couldn't get past how Nina was treating Millie. Like, the way that she was gaslighting her and talking to her like she was crazy. I like, whether it was for a reason or not, I just couldn't get past that because I would have been ready to fight. That's it, and that's all. The next book I ended up reading this month was Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I see why this book was so hyped up, because I was not expecting all the spice that this book gave. Like, I was not expecting this book to be that full of spice. And I don't know why I'm surprised, because every sports romance I've read so far has been spicy, but the amount of spice that was in this book was crazy. I absolutely love Nate. I love Anastasia. I did not like her skating partner. I don't even remember his name because he was a total jerk. He was just I was gonna say a bad word, but he acted like a female for some reason. Like, he was acting like a whole moody, and I can't even say he was acting like a female because half the females don't even act how he be acting. He was just Icebreaker. I gave this book a 5-star. Enjoyed this book so much. Like, I was not expecting that, but it was amazing. The next book that I ended up reading was Tomorrow. For some reason, just by looking at this cover, it gave me Back to the Future vibes. That's what I thought this book was about. I wasn't interested in reading it, but then I seen a whole bunch of other girlies picking this book up, and they was talking about how good it was. So I was like, well, let me go grab it, and I'm gonna add it to my March TBR, and I may or may not read it. I read it. It was amazing. I did not expect, and it was like, you can't even call it a romance book. It was basically about this girl and boy that met at the hospital when her sister was in the hospital sick, and come to find out he was in an accident. He had to keep getting surgery done on his leg because his leg was crushed. So they met in a game room because he was basically depressed and wasn't talking to anyone, and he came across her, and they ended up having a conversation about a game that they were playing, and they became friends, and then they stopped being friends, and then they met back up in college and became friends, started designing games together. It was very much a platonic relationship with them until it wasn't, but I enjoyed this book so much because you didn't get strictly romance. You got them just building a bond with each other, gaming, and it was like this miscommunication trope in here. And we grown. Let's talk. Like, let's talk about it. Like, let's squash it out so we ain't gotta walk around here being mad at each other for no reason. But gave this book a 4.5 star. Enjoyed this book. Tomorrow, and tomorrow. If you haven't read it, you should read it. The next physical book I read was A Little Life. I told you guys I was going to read this book this month because I wanted to see what everybody was talking about, and I wish I didn't want to see. I wish I would just mind my business, stop being so nosy, and just left it where it was in Books A Million and just kept it pushing. This book traumatized me so bad, and I feel like it's not that I don't know stuff like this happening in the world, because I do know, and yeah, but I do know things like this happen in the world. I just was expecting Jude to get a happy ending for some reason, but that wasn't the case. And I felt like throughout this whole book, his friends was basically enabling him to continue to self-harm, and like they wasn't there for him how I expected a friend to be. Like, it was just giving me they really didn't care, because they were just trying to live their life, and they just like they didn't care about this man. And I say that, so I made a video about this book because I didn't left it almost like 80-90% through the book because I could not. I cried my eyes out. I started feeling like sad. I was super sad about this book. Like, I just wanted more for Jude. I wanted him to get the life he deserved. I wanted him to get help so he can get past his childhood trauma and apparently his adult trauma. Child, listen. Caleb. Like, I feel like although Caleb passed away, I feel like that was just too easy for him, because the way he treated Jude, what he did to Jude, really, like, that really hit home for me. I like, you could have really left him alone. Like, I'm standing firm on, if you don't want to be with somebody, don't be with them. Like, it's nothing in this world that's making you stick around and be in a relationship that you did not want to be in. If his physical disability was such a trigger to you, you should have dipped on and went on about your business. And it was not even like they was in a year-long relationship. Like, they met, I want to say it was like 2 or 3 weeks. You could have, like, the way this book triggered me, I was so mad. I was so hurt for Jude. And then when, like, oh Jesus, listen, I just cannot with this book. I mean, it was a beautiful writing. I love the story. I love just getting to know each of the characters and all the trauma that they was going through. I love seeing some of them grow and become better people. They failed Jude. Like, they failed Jude so much in this book. I feel like they didn't even try. Like, no one really tried to, like, get him help. Like, it was just basically, they was enabling him. They was enabling him throughout this whole book. And this book was so good, but it was so triggering. And I cried half of this book because I try not to read sad books, but this right here had me bawling my eyes out because I just could not. But A Little Life, I ended up getting it a 3.75 stars. The next book I read was Magnolia Park, and all I have to say is what in the actual I don't even want to. It's just so much I want to say about this book, because first of all, we're gonna start off with the obvious that at first reading this book, I thought they was like 17, 16, 17, 17, 18. 25 and 22 were their real age. They was carrying on in this book like some children. The way that they just listen, either I was so upset with this book, mainly because I was like, man, no, if you want to be with BJ, be with BJ. Wrap that up. Stop doing the back and forth. Stop, like, you make your own decision. Stop having people make a decision for you. I know she was like, her sister was like, you shouldn't be with him because if he cheat once, he's gonna cheat twice. And that may be true. That may be true. And then some people can actually change, but the way that they were carrying on, she do stuff to hurt him, he do stuff to, like, y'all are 22 and 25. Let's be for real. Like, be for real. Like, y'all, I was just very much confused as to why the heck they was carrying, like, and then she was just going around dating other guys, breaking their hearts, not even caring about their feelings, but strictly focused on the dude that cheated on you. And then the person he cheated on her with is what took me out. The person he cheated on her with is what took me out, because I just, like, who can you trust? This book gave me strict trust issues. After reading this book, I was like, girl, you can't trust nobody. And like, when you assume, was just automatically assume the worst. Just side eye everybody, because how did everybody in her friend group know except for her and Henry? Like, just think about that. The people that she was hanging around every day, people she was calling her best friend, knew who BJ cheated on her with, except for BJ brother. They smiled, they laughed, they kiki kaka, they kicked it with her every day for 3 years, knowing who she cheated on him with, who he cheated on her with. What kind of, I gave this book a 4.75. I enjoyed it so much, though, even though, and then the thing is, another thing I didn't like about this book, all I'm telling you is all the thing I didn't like about this book, but I gave it 4.75. I did not like how Magnolia kept trying to kick the girls that BJ whipped down just to make herself feel better. It's not their fault that your boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, side piece, best friend, fling, when ish, like, it's not their fault. Like, get better taste. Let that guy go. I really want to read The Long Way Home. I am going to order that book, and I think I'm going to order it on Kindle Unlimited as well, so that I can read it this weekend while I'm in Florida. But 4.75 for Magnolia Park. And the next and final book that I read was Mile High. I've seen a lot of people talking about The Right Move, and it's a I think it's Windy City. Yeah, a Windy series. It's called the Windy City series, and I read Mile High so that I can get into The Right Move. And I just didn't like how, I get a book 4-star. I didn't like how Evie kept bashing herself. Like, she had no self-love. She had no self-confidence. None of that. Like, she just, but I love Xander. Like, I know Xander, like, I love Xander. I love Xander. If you haven't read Mile High by Liz Thompson, I think that was her name. I don't even remember her name, but let me see. I'll put it on the screen right here so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't read Mile High by Liz Tomford, I think. If you haven't read that, you should read it, because it's an amazing book. I enjoyed the book so much. Some people didn't like it. I see why some people didn't like it, because like I said, the way that Stevie kept downplaying herself, the way that they kept making Xander look like he was just such a bad guy with no common sense. Like, you can stand up for yourself. You can tell these people that that's not what you want to do. Like, let's be for real. Let's be adults. If we're gonna be adults, let's be adults. But I enjoyed the book so much. It was a good book. Gave it 4 stars, and those are all the books that I've read in the month of March. I am currently reading City of Bones, although it is the 27th and I most likely will be done with it in March. We're not going to put it in this video. We're going to put it in April reading wrap up, and I'll let you guys know my thoughts there. But yeah, those are all the books I've read this month. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.